In this segment, Dean Obeidallah talk all things Trump, his lack of any contrition, his pledging to pardon insurrectionists, support of Putin and a federal ban on abortions, and a litany of lies too numerous to count. Between this, his legal baggage, and more, he still amazingly is the GOP frontrunner.
MAGA is attempting to tamper with the Trump jury right in front of our eyes. Tell me about this.
Sure, and I wrote that before what we've seen with Jesse Waters on Fox News.
Yeah, that was
going
insane.
through each of the jurors that were impaneled, and then Donald Trump clearly violating the gag order and attacking the jurors. Before that, I was talking about on Tuesday, right when the first jurors were brought in, you had Congressman Byron Donalds go on Newsmax on actually Monday night he's on, and saying, if you get on the jury in Manhattan, this is a trash case, vote not guilty. So a sitting Republican member of Congress, a MAGA congressperson, telling people, if you're in New York, and then you had even worse was Clay Travis, a Fox News contributor. He tweeted saying, if you're in Manhattan, try to get on this jury and do the same thing. Vote not guilty, vote to acquit, and have a hung jury, because that's the most patriotic thing you can do.
Isn't that a crime, Dean?
It's not, because it's, look, I went and looked at the New York law. If they said that specifically to a juror who was sworn in as a juror, or to a prospective juror who they were speaking to directly, it would be a crime. When you do this in general, you get a First Amendment protections, and they know this. Even though Congressman Eric Swalwell pointed out, who's a former prosecutor, this is jury tampering. I think he viscerally were upset. We know this, what in their spirit, what they're doing is jury tampering. There's no doubt. If they send an email to someone who was on the jury with these words, yes, that's a crime, no doubt about it. If they called that person up and said, do this. If they tweeted at that person knowing they were on the jury or a prospective juror, absolutely a crime. They were one step removed. And but here's the thing, Tom, if they're doing this publicly, what is MAGA doing privately that we don't know about?
Right.
Like, what's going on with MAGA people? Just like in my article, I go through what John Gotti did in his trials, intimidating witnesses, paying off a juror, convincing a juror to withhold information, say you don't know Gotti and you don't know friends of Gotti. The guy gets on the jury, then they give him $60,000 and he causes a hung jury in one of Gotti's cases.
Right, he got off twice.
Gotti was, he was a Teflon Don until he wasn't a Teflon Don. He was finally convicted because the jury was not tampered with and there was no witnesses intimidated. Have a fair trial. Donald Trump is a convicted felon by June. That's the reality. That's what it looks like, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Last night on Fox News, Jesse Waters laid out enough of the details of one of the jurors that she had relatives calling her up going, he's describing you. Are you on the jury? And,
yep, sure.
And then she came in this morning and she didn't say, I'm so intimidated I'm running, but she said, it looks like I've been outed and I don't think I can be impartial based on that. Do you expect that people are going to start saying to the judge, I feel intimidated now that Fox News has gone after us? And if so, is there, I mean, what can he do about this?
Well, today, Judge Marchand said to the media, use your common sense. You know, there's a lot
you think
of case
Fox News is going to pay attention to that?
No, and Fox News is the least concerning. What about Breitbart? What about Gateway Pundit? What about Newsmax?
Yeah.
Further right, less responsible people. Because all the media, let's be honest, it's not just Fox News, Political, ABC News, all of them. I was reading, just from curiosity, the descriptions yesterday about the jurors that have been impaneled. There were 7. And this was just good faith news reporting. Then you have the more sinister intent. So what Fox News did was completely legal. Was the intent of Jesse Waters, though, to inform MAGA to go threaten jurors? Maybe, maybe not. Are there bad faith actors? Absolutely. And that's the concern. That's what the judge said, use your common sense today. But look, Tom, the case law is very clear. It falls on the side of allowing the media to report not the names of the jurors, it's an anonymous jury, but these other facts until the judge goes no more. And I hope we don't get to a point where jurors actually don't serve. And think about where we are, Tom. Just this discussion we're having, we're talking about this trial like it's a mob trial, like it's the trial of a terrorist leader. And the reality is, it is. Donald Trump is a mobster. He is a leader of a terrorist movement known as MAGA. And it's unreal that he's also the Republican nominee for president in 2024, the leader of their party. So we are talking about this just like we would about a trial of an ISIS leader or a mob leader, a John Gotti or Vinny the Chin, the guys here in New York. Same thing, because that's what we're dealing with. And Trump is happy with that, and the GOP is fine with it. And that is far more concerning to me.
Yeah, I get it. So last night when Trump retweeted Jesse Waters, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but reading the gag order, it says you may not, speak about these jurors. And he explicitly claimed that one of the jurors, at least, was a plant, basically a Democratic plant, and that seems like a clear violation of the gag order. I mean, what? Now the judge has said he's going to wait until Tuesday to decide what to do. Is he giving Trump a lot of rope, and then he's going to hang him with it on Tuesday, or is he just whiffing on these things, because he's I suppose trying to avoid an appealable verdict or something like that? I mean, what's going on? Why?
Look, I mean, Judge Marchand here, and when I was a lawyer, I never appeared before him, so I can't speak on personal information, but from others who have, and I know many who have, they've gone on TV or even lawyers I knew, very highly respected, no nonsense, a tough judge, but a nice judge, like a gentleman. So I think he's waiting. He wants to clarify the whole gag order thing before the opening statements actually begin, before it's too late.
Right.
And look, the gag order is very clear. Trump is forbidden from, quote, making or directing others to make public statements about any prospective juror or any juror in a criminal proceeding. What did Trump post yesterday? They are catching undercover liberal activists lying to the judge in order to get on the Trump jury. It doesn't matter he quoted Jesse Waters. He wrote that out, then put Jesse Waters' quote. He's making, that's a statement by Donald Trump. And what he's saying to his supporters are, these people on the jury are corrupt. Jesse Waters used the term rigged yesterday. I watched the Fox News statement. He said it's a rigged jury already. The Trumpers, they know what that means. That means jump into action. That means if you find a juror, you got to go up to them and say, you got to be honest, or worse, you threaten them like they do in the Gotti case or on The Sopranos. These mobsters through years on television and in real life have done this. This is exactly what Trump wants. So I'm hoping Judge Marchand next week holds Trump in contempt. By the way, today the prosecutor said, we've had 7 violations of the gag order. He literally pleaded to the judge saying, this has to stop. Like, it has to put an end to it. So it's not like the prosecutors aren't pushing Judge Marchand. I think next week, I hope the judge lays out very clearly, so there's due process. Here is the schedule. 1 violation, it costs you this. 2nd violation costs you this. And then we get to, you're going to go to jail for 24 hours. You're going to go to jail for 3 days, a week. So everybody knows it. So everyone in the public knows it. Fox News knows it. So when Trump violates it and he goes to jail, it's like you were warned and you had 2 or 3 other warnings. You had to pay a fine. Now you're going to jail. It takes a lot for a judge to put any defendant in jail and take their liberty away for making a statement, as opposed to a statement which is a real threat directly, yes, but the general one. So it's got to lead up to it, and that's what we're getting to. I really wish the judge would have held him in contempt already, though, for the earlier violations.
I agree. I want him to get his ass kicked, basically, but.